Hi, how's it going, guys? If you're new here, hello. I'm Julian Rolick. I'm an editor and a writer. I do videos about all sorts of things. I've done makeup, I've done video games, I've done writing, software right now. Um, I've done mental health. I do a lot of things. And I haven't quite figured out my niche yet, but I want to focus a little bit more on writing in the next couple of months because Nanowrimo is coming up. And if you don't know what that is, Nanowrimo is National Novel Writing Month. It's in November. And the months leading up to, especially October, are very, very important. This month was actually Camp Nanowrimo. It's another writing adventure, as I'm going to call it. But Nanowrimo is, in short, a competition of sorts with yourself to write 50,000 words in 1 month. I was doing that with books and things. 1 month. 1 month. That is a lot harder than it sounds. But today I want to give you some ways you can find inspiration in your day-to-day life, particularly for dreams and daydreams. But I'm going to give you other examples as well. So let's get into it, shall we? First, I want to talk about daydreams. Most of us have those, don't we? We dream of a different life in another world where things are different. We're bored, we're just imagining, fantasizing. You know what I mean, right? Well, have you ever tried writing those down? Is my question. See, dreams, especially nightmares, are well known among writers as great fodder for writing ideas. In fact, some of the best writers out there use their nightmares to write their horror stories. I can't remember off the top of my head, unfortunately, who they were, but I'm pretty sure Stephen King was one of them. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, Mr. King. Anyway, my point is, dreams are fairly well known to be good in idea fodder, but we never really think about our daydreams. Why not write those? I've started writing those in my free time when I can't think of anything else to write, and it really helps me keep up my writing daily, and I just find it really helpful. And the things I end up describing in this practice, it's actually really helpful in other ways too. I mean, it helps me learn to describe things better. I'm trying to describe things descriptively. I'm sorry, I'm very bad with words when I'm speaking, not writing. But the point is, it helps me practice description, it helps me practice character development in my own head and then putting it on paper. It helps me practice all sorts of things that you need to think about when you write. So that's just one thing I want to recommend for all the writers out there. If you have writer's block, but you've been fantasizing about living on another world or another dimension where things are different, write about that. It's like a stream of consciousness, basically, in a way. You're writing anything that comes to mind. It's just this time it's your fantasies instead of random words like, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to write. Those are still good too, mind you. And that's actually another one I want to recommend. Stream of consciousness writing. I've done this literally at a stream, but you don't need to be at a stream to do these. The point of them is you write the first thing that comes to mind, you just keep writing. You gotta keep that pen on the page, or your hands on the keyboard, whatever works. The point is, if the only thing you can think of is the word but, then just keep writing that over and over until you think of something else. If you just keep thinking, I can't do this, just write that. I can't do this. I can't do this. And eventually you'll think of something else to say. And sometimes it's kind of like a brain dump, I'm going to say, because, as I said, you can write anything that comes to mind when you're doing your stream of consciousness. That means you can write about anything that's worrying you that's on your mind, anything that's on your mind that's made you really happy, anything that's on your mind that you don't even know why it's on your mind, it's just randomly there. All of those things can be in your stream of consciousness. And after you write that stream of consciousness, I want you to look at it, reread it. Think about how unique your personal mindset is. Think about the things that you wrote about. Even if all you wrote was, I don't know what to write at all, over and over. The fact is, you got words on the paper. And you know what? Sometimes that's the hardest part. Now, another exercise I want to tell you about, I actually talked about this briefly on a live stream at work. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I work for a literary magazine. It's called Books and Quills magazine. It's wonderful. I love the people I work with. I love the work we do. And I did a live stream a couple months ago about using your emotions for characters. Now, this is another interesting thing that I learned. In my case, I learned this in high school when I was in therapy. My therapist actually had me do this. She told me, imagine your anger as a person. What would they look like? What would their personality be? What would their name be? Because she knew I was a writer, and for me, characters were a lot easier to understand than visual aids, because I'm not a visual person. I have aphantasia. I don't fantasize with images in my brain at all. I just hear it all like a story. So, for me, writing it out makes perfect sense, right? And I did. I think I have pictures I had printed out here, but I can't be certain right now. There's like a giant pile of paper over here that you can't see, thankfully. I'm very sorry about the mess that you can't see, because that would have been really helpful right now if I knew I was going to do this. Honestly, this is unscripted. I'm just going off as I go. So I'm just giving you any writing tip I can think of. But that's just another idea. Turn your emotions into characters. Happiness, anger, sadness, anxiety, any emotions you're feeling right now, turn them into characters and let them interact. See how they interact and see how they grow from the little basic character you made, as they flourish into true characters with their own lives and their own problems. And when you do that, it's also therapeutic, but it's also just a great writing project. And finally, I'm going to tell you writing it for poetry specifically, but you could do it for prose if you're trying to learn to do descriptions of weird things. I did an article on this one many moons ago. I was at a special camp for reading when I was 14 years old, and we had a creative writing course as part of it. Well, it was an elective, but that was what I chose. One day, our teacher for the elective has us outside, hands us each an orange, and says for the next, I think it was a certain number of minutes, I can't remember how long anymore, I'm sorry, but for X amount of minutes, I want you to just peel that orange as slowly as you can. I want you to really think about what you're doing in the moment, and just peel the orange. And after we're done peeling the orange, after time's up, you're going to write a poem about the experience of peeling an orange. Now, there's a lot of problems, in my opinion, with this, because we were writing on paper with pen, we were dealing with very juicy oranges that were very sticky, and it was very difficult to write when our hands were covered in orange juice. But it was a great experience. It was a great practice. And you can do that with prose as well. Write about your character, write trying to peel an orange. Maybe they're having a hard time, maybe they're having an easy time, I don't know. But write the experience. And you don't have to do an orange either. You can peel a banana, you can be using a nutcracker to unmask a nut. I don't remember the actual term for getting a nut out of its outside part. I also just don't remember what the outside part is called. like a peanut. I don't know what the outside is called. I just know that you have to crack it to get the inside deep enough. I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. My point is, choose any everyday experience. Do it a little bit slower, and then write about the experience itself. It doesn't have to be prose. It can be a poem. It can be prose about a character doing it or about yourself doing it, or just a practice in describing things. Make sure you include all your senses, obviously, unless you're me, and then you have to ignore one of the senses because you don't have it. But assuming you have all 5 senses, even if they're a little bit off in some ways, use all of them to describe what you felt, what you smelled, what you heard, the sound of feeling that orange in your hand, the taste of the orange, even though you didn't get to eat it yet, but you're eating it while you write, so it kind of works. The color, the texture, everything. Just describe that orange in as much detail as you can, and describe the feeling of it as you tear through the skin. It sounds really creepy right now. I'm not gonna lie, that sounded really creepy. But point still stands. These are all good exercises, and I wanted you to know about them. They're not ones people talk about often. Well, okay, stream of consciousness started, but I don't hear people talk about your daydreams that much. I don't hear people talking about peeling an orange that much. I don't hear about people doing a lot of these things that much. And I just wanted you to remember, there's a lot of ways to get words on paper. What matters is you don't stop trying. And that is the real lesson. If you can't write your personal project right now, then don't force yourself. But still try to keep writing something. Because if you stop writing completely, getting back on the train is going to be a lot harder. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I'll try to think of more writing ideas for the future, but for now, this is what you get. Take care, guys. Be happy, be healthy, and don't forget to smile even under a face mask. Take care.